Hey guys, welcome to the lesson, which is brought to you by our partners at Wizard Coffee. Wizard Coffee gets to places other coffee cannot get to. Okay, yesterday I allowed myself some special dispensation from my regular kind of life, and I actually did a transcription. Not just worked out chords or anything like that. I actually wrote out note for note a whole saxophone solo. It's by Braxton Cook on a tune he composed called No Doubt, and there's my transcription of it. Some of you will hopefully, fingers crossed, remember a lesson where I had a look at this song with you guys, and that was one of very few lessons I've ever taught that went a lot better than I thought it would go. And I had some correspondence yesterday which kind of confirmed that, which is really cool. Stuff that you didn't know that gets kind of revealed to you, and then kind of lights something up and enables you to go somewhere else. It's like I think, and you know this from my strategies, the way I teach, I think that's one of the best things teachers can do. I certainly used to crave lessons where that would happen to me. It didn't happen nearly enough, unfortunately, when I was a student, but when it did, it was super great. And the other thing, which I've been reflecting on loads, as I make this transcription, which is admittedly a task that extends my musical knowledge and ability and understanding and engagement with music, which in turn helps you, but also this video aims to invest in another really important part of what I think teaching is about, which is sharing kind of vulnerabilities and kind of maxing yourself out in front of your students so that they can understand that, one, that's okay, and two, that the so-called, and I hasten to add, I use the phrase so-called master. I do not think of myself as a master, as you know, as I hope you know. The master kind of taps out, and then it creates a good kind of environment, because everyone feels secure, and it's like, oh right, it's not about getting it right necessarily, it's just about the process of learning. Anyway, so more on that in just a sec, but in the spirit of that, I'm now going to sight read my way through this transcription in front of you. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so, not a complete disaster for a first go, but, certainly not great. Sure glad I wasn't playing at half speed. Oh, apart from the fact that I was. Now I'm gonna just try and play the tune, not even the solo, just the melody. Here we go. Okay, so I rest my case. Wow. So I find just playing the tune, the melody of that song, incredibly difficult, let alone playing that solo at that speed. That's a brilliant thing, because it doesn't make me sad or cross or upset or anything like that. It just makes me go, cool, I've got lots to learn, and I'm happy to learn it and just try and kind of, well, just get into it and really try and do it. Okay, so so I transcribed the solo, and I'm going to do something now which I hardly ever do in class, which is talk about soloing. It's something that I feel is, you know, dangerous territory for me, because it's something that I'm not good at, and it's something that I'm not an expert in. But I will try and offer some thoughts about it, and it's going to hopefully link into previous classes. You know, what I've tried to do in this lockdown curriculum is have a curriculum which is not completely linear, of course, because I don't believe in education being a linear thing only. But I'm going to reference some previous lessons and things I find important. I'll try my best to do that as quickly and clearly as I can. Okay, so right, let's deal with the harmony in this song first. Okay, so the chords are as follows. I'm not going to give a full breakdown. This is not, I don't expect you to learn the song necessarily. I'm kind of teaching ideas, and hopefully this is of interest to you. And don't worry, like later in the class we'll just listen to some great music, so don't worry about that. Okay, I'll get to it soon. Okay, G major 7 sharp 5. So maybe we will break down the chords. So sorry, this paper's buzzing there. So it's G major 7 with a sharp 5, which would be D sharp. Goes to B major but over F sharp, so B major second inversion. That goes to then E minor with a major 7, so an E minor chord, but with a major 7. Which goes to B major first inversion, so B over D sharp. Which goes to B flat augmented. I remember the chord symbol for an augmented chord is a plus sign, so that always confuses me. That's B flat augmented. Remember, augmented is all major thirds, so B flat to D is a major third, D to F sharp is a major third. And that goes then to B flat diminished. Is that right? Yes, sorry. Which is all minor thirds, and you get that really tricky bit in the melody, which I didn't cut in thirds. Then you get E flat 7. After the B flat diminished, E flat 7 goes to A flat minor 7, which goes to the best chord it can do after that, in my opinion, which is E major 7. Goes to back back to B major when you get. Sorry. Sorry, played the melody right. There we go. When I played the tune, I made a mistake. I should have gone down to that A flat. I played this. I should have played that. Okay. Right, so those are the chords. I think I went through those. Yeah, and they're not too bad at all. Apart from the fact that the tempo is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, so fast. Okay, now, so I transcribed this solo, and I quickly discovered a few things once I finished it, which is basically there are two main scales that Braxton Cook uses with, you know, ridiculous dexterity and musicianship and all those kind of things. You know, I hate describing the finer qualities of music. It's just like burning as sin. It's awesome. It makes me love everything, and makes my life great. That's just what I want to say about it. You know, like, thanks to Braxton Cook for making that sound. But what is that sound? Well, he does kind of two really cool things, which is that he uses a B major scale, which works really well over some of those harmonies. For example, the A flat minor chord. The B major scale is so similar to like A flat minor pentatonic. So you heard him play a beautiful kind of line over that. I wrote it out as if it was in B major, but it's kind of sounding the same there. And he uses lots and lots of B major, but he uses a scale which has come up loads for some reason. Must be the music I listen to, but it's a good thing. I describe it as a real gateway scale, which, if I can play it right, is this scale. Okay, now if you've been really kind of like working on your kind of harmony chops through these videos, you might already recognize that that's a Mixolydian flat 6, or the fifth mode of the melodic minor. In this case, that would be the fifth mode of E melodic minor. Is that right? Yeah, always need to get that right, of course. He starts there, which fits beautifully over that chord of G major 7 sharp 5, and the Mixolydian flat 6 has a really nice kind of inbuilt kind of augmented sound, because it has the major third, but then the flat 6 is a major third away from the major third. So and that works really well, and it's this interplay between B major and B Mixolydian flat 6, which is so great. Let me play the opening line again and try and demonstrate not how to play it, but like the fact that moving between these two scales is really cool. The major scale and then the Mixolydian flat 6. So that might just be something that you really explore. Clearly, Braxton Cook has done that. He's got brilliant things to say using those two scales, and I'll try and demonstrate that now. And I think that really shows that. So here, that's about as B major as you would hope to get, and then we go up with that kind of flat 6. And that's not new. I've said this before, but classical composers in the late 19th century, even, do you know what? Even in the mid 19th century, were really using that kind of pull, and that's brilliant. Cool. And basically the whole solo plays between that. If you were looking at the chart, you'd see, or you'd identify, or where there's a G natural, okay, that's going to be the flat 6 mode, the mixed Lydian flat 6. And when you don't see that, when you don't see any accidentals, that's B major. And so actually, apart from the fact that it's ferociously hard to play, well, it's a saxophone solo for a start, so it's not under the hands-on piano, but whatever, that's for me to work out when I practice it, which I will do eventually, when the time is right. Okay, just a couple of other things, like, you can hear the people going, oh yeah, but what's the scale choice for B flat, what was it, B flat augmented to B flat diminished to E flat 7 flat 9 to A flat minus 7? Because I can understand it on the other bits, but what about that? Well, he does a really cool thing. I'm going to play that line out of context now, and hopefully it makes sense. So the first thing he does over the B flat augmented is not play anything. And then he starts to play chromatically, which one is a good solution to that chromatic harmony, and two, sounds really good. Sorry. Whoa, yuck, let me do that again. Ah. So that is a really, really chromatic passage which copes brilliantly with that. And you can probably hear the point where he does the E flat to the A flat, which is a perfect cadence. So it's just like a 2, 5, 1, okay? But just one that has a lot of chromaticism. Sorry, there's a B flat. A flat natural minor there, which is almost identical to B major, those of course being enharmonically relative and harmonically the same. Cool, so those are some thoughts. It needn't be that difficult, so why not try it in B major? You could do it in any key, of course, but that's a B major. It's got all the black notes, if you want to think of it like that, with the white notes being B and E. And I always find that scale, D flat the same, we just got different notes. Yeah, gosh. Sure need some edits in these videos, eh? B major, and then if I change the flat 6 and the flat 7. I think that's a really, really rich stomping ground for you. And finding shapes, none better than this one. Let me try and play that, even remotely at speed. Yuck. Okay, good. Anyway, right, time's ticking on, so we better move on with the lesson. Anyway, I hope that makes some sense in terms of lessons and learning, and also going back to the lesson that I taught on that in 257, where that lesson didn't get to. Okay, good. Now, as I so often like to do, let's do the YouTube part of the class. Who is Braxton Cook? Braxton Cook seems to me, via internet sources, is 29. He's an American saxophone player. He studied at the Juilliard School of Music, where he met Christian Scott, or rather Christian Scott met him. I mean, often when you're at a music college, you have access to quite famous musicians. I mean, in some ways it's kind of a good tactic. Imagine a scenario whereby you make contact somehow with a ridiculously famous musician, and you just happen to like get through, or you did something, or you showed something that musician really loved, and they were like, hey man, like, do you want to like hang out, do you want to sing on my next record? I don't know, like something like that can actually happen. It's rare, I mean super rare, but it does happen. And I would say, like not just when you finished college, but if you were at a music college, that would happen. It wouldn't happen to anyone. Just maybe out of kind of college, but maybe at degree level. Okay, so Braxton Cook, he's 29. He lives in New Jersey, which is a city near New York, or a part of New York. And here he is coaching a kids' music workshop. They're playing the tune, no doubt. These young guys, like burning away on the Telecaster there. They're doing a great job. He has supported people at Tiny Desk. I first came across him at Christian Scott's Tiny Desk. Christian Scott came across him when he was doing something, or coaching, or hanging out at the Juilliard School, which is a great school of music and dance. They teach dance and music in New York City. And so I first came across him in Christian Scott's Tiny Desk, but you might recognize him from Tom Mish's Tiny Desk. He plays an unbelievably good saxophone solo on one of the tunes, on the first tune from that Tiny Desk. And Phony People, he's on their Tiny Desk as well. So there we go. What's brilliant is that rather than being the bridesmaid, in lockdown, he's been the bride. So there he is in his home Tiny Desk, playing his original music in his home, wearing a Miles Davis hoodie. And this is great. I felt so great watching this, not least because the music is fantastic. And I'm a huge Braxton Cook fan, but I felt so good for him that then he could feature his own compositions and things like that. He's written some good music, I think you'll agree, but like, check this out. And alive. I mean, that's the sound, right? I hope you like it. Okay, early mornings on the train, right? Yeah, I mean, tell me about it. Oh, that's him singing. Yeah, okay, so that's well worth checking out, that track. I think you can see the title of that. Cool. Now to close, and let's bring it round. There's lots of things in this lesson, and we're into the part where I'm just kind of being an advocate for Braxton Cook, being an advocate for using the internet to check out music, learning about music and what have you. I'm just trying to help you guys with that, because I believe it really helps. And Braxton Cook is a musician, one of many, who, like, in some ways he's like the American Tom Misch, right? In some ways, kind of similar kind of level, and he's really breaking through and starting to really kind of find his own thing as well. He's supporting himself through original music making. Okay, so let's check out that. Here's his shop on his brilliant website. So we've got vinyls, custom vinyls, and custom T-shirts, which I'm very pleased to note are sold out. But brilliant. I love a T-shirt like that. I just go for a plain blue one today. But then you'll see this, which is you can buy in the merch. You can buy the sheet music for No Doubt, which I did for two reasons. One, because I heard the song, and then class was in like an hour, and I was like, man, I don't have time to transcribe that. And then I was like, oh man, I wonder if I can buy it. And I went on his website, like shot in the dark, and there it was. But I know what you're thinking. Why has he written it in C flat major? No one writes music in C flat major. Especially if they're gonna spell it as like B major. That's C flat major. What? Okay, so hopefully that makes sense in terms of why I wrote this transcription out in B major. Anyway, that's cool. Braxton Cook can do what he likes. I just think that's really cool. He gives away solo transcriptions on his website, which is really cool. He gives them away for free, not ones of him, ones that he's done. There aren't any of his solo transcriptions on this website or on any website. If you want one of those, you'll have to do it yourself. Okay, I hope the messages of this lesson are clear. Let's have some play out music. Okay, I always like that in class. Okay, see you next time. Ciao everyone, bye.